Good evening. Happy Monday to everyone. I hope I sound a bit more livelier and cheerful because I've had two Caymanians who have messaged me about the way my introduction sounds. So they've encouraged me to lift my voice up a bit more and put more oomph into it. So here I am. I wanted to have a little chit chat about the case where they've now taken it to court, where the government is trying to acquire the beach that is on the waterfront there where the fishermen are located. And this has been going on for some time, and I recently learned that it's now been taken to court. And so I had a few thoughts on it, personal thoughts, of course. People have been approaching me about speaking on it, and particularly because I am a native Georgetowner. I haven't seen or heard too many Georgetowners. Let me take my glasses off for a minute. I haven't seen or heard too many very local and what I would like to describe as generational Georgetowners speaking on this. And so my position is this. I think if the government should, or most likely had approached Mr. Johnson and tried to lease this piece of land, the circumstances may have been different. I don't know. I think they could have tried to come to some agreement to try to lease the land for at least 100 years or whatever. Usually when people lease someone else's property, it's about 99 years. And so I think that would have been a perfect solution to this issue rather than trying to forcibly acquire the property. But I'm not going to get into all of that legal back and forth and who should have done what, who shouldn't have done what. The property is for the owner. I'm not sure how he was able to, or how anyone is able to acquire just that bit of property right there, a small beachfront of property, but it is for the owner. Government is doing what they're doing. They have their rights and the legal rigmarole that they're able to do, and so that is before the courts. Now, for me as a Georgetowner, I want to say this. There are very few areas in Georgetown that anyone can swim anymore. I believe that government should have tried to lease that property from Mr. Johnson and lease it under the auspices, under the guise, under the reasonings of we want to preserve this entire area here for our Caymanian people. Point blank, including the fishermen, but also as a swimming area. I say this because in Georgetown, when we think about the capital of Georgetown, historically Grand Cayman have had West Bay, Georgetown, South Sound, Bordentown, East End, and North Side as districts. So we consider Smith Cove as a South Sound location, so we can't count that for Georgetown. In Georgetown, there has been Hogsty Bay, which is out near the dock. There has been the little area there that is now under contest of who should acquire what and how they're going to acquire it. There is the area next to Rackham's, or what was previously known as Rackham's, or maybe still known as Rackham's, where used to be what we as native Caymanians fondly know as where Mr. Bush's Theatre was. And further down the area there by Mr. Arthur's shop, and then right behind Lobster Pot, and then the area of Ports of Call, which is just after on the boundaries of going from Georgetown to West Bay. Ports of Call is where that new hotel is going up next to the wharf. So those areas have been prime swimming areas for years for Georgetowners and many Caymanians coming from all over the islands, or even our Brackers and little Cayman residents when they visit the islands or visit Grand Cayman and spending holidays or vacations here. But primarily for Georgetowners historically, again, Hogstye Bay where the dock is, the area of the beach that is under contest at this present time, I think it's called Dora Beach, they're saying. The area next to the wharf and the area by Mr. Arthur's store next to Burger King, and then right after Burger King, I think I may have said Red Lobster, but it's Lobster Pot. There's a little area right there also, and then further on right next to the wharf, which used to be known as Ports of Call. Those are primary areas that have been known as swimming areas for Caymanians, especially Georgetowners, for generations, many years. We would go there, especially on a Saturday, but more particularly on a Sunday, after church. It was a historical thing. It was a that's not the word I'm looking for, but anyway, it was something that Georgetowners did every Sunday. We would go to these spots, we would jump off the rocks and jump into the water, and those were our swimming areas. If the government wanted to be smart, and I know the governments are smart, I'm not being sarcastic here, those areas should be preserved for same purposes. They're historic locations. Any other Caribbean location you go to, or even other countries, these types of areas are preserved as historic areas. We saw some time ago, we saw some noted MPs and candidates swimming in Hogstye Bay, and I believe there was another location. And so we know that the swimming area in the areas for Caymanians in the Cayman Islands have disappeared basically. And I feel that at least by government, on behalf of government, for the people, could have been approached by Mr. Johnson. I don't know why government well, I shouldn't say I don't know, but publicly government feels they want to acquire the land, they're saying, to preserve the fishes. Now, the fishermen. Now, some people are saying that the fishermen could go anywhere. Some people are saying that the fishermen are not actually selling local fish. That's besides the point. The point is, we want to preserve this area. Right on the other side of that beach, we used to have what we call Wholesome Bakery, which once belonged to Mr. Norberg Thompson and the Thompson family. The best patties and milkshake this side of the world and in the Cayman Islands. And there's never been patties and milkshakes like that ever again in the Cayman Islands. And on Saturdays, if we were able to swim there and they were open, we would enjoy the patties and the milkshake and take them onto the beach with us. So these various properties in Georgetown, I believe government should, and I'm not talking about the parcel of land right next to the lobster pot that the Ministry of Tourism acquired at the beginning of 2021 that is still there. I'm talking about behind the lobster pot itself, between Burger King and Lobster Pot, and even right to the west or left hand of Burger King. That entire area there, and even by Mr. Arthur's shop. So those few locations have been historic locations. I know some Caymanians still go out there. Their children, 3-4 generations later, are still going out there to swim. I know Caymanians that have moved out of town, and on some Sundays their children, they come into town with their children to swim in these areas. So someone is trying to call me. I also want to say, I know Mr. Johnson, I don't know him personally, but I know Mr. Johnson, that it was in the papers of what Mr. Johnson would like to do with this parcel of land, right? It gave some newspaper had an article some time ago, I think it was last year or the year before, what Mr. Johnson hoped to do with this piece of land that he owns. I believe, based on what Mr. Johnson had planned that was published in the news, is that that parcel of land could still be preserved as is, and Mr. Johnson could still partially do what he wanted to do in order for people to come to that area and enjoy the area and the scenery. And we could still have the swimming area, we could still have the fishermen there. I don't see anything sanitary with the fishermen there. I've been there a few times, off and on over the years. It's never been a problem with sanitation all of these years that all fishermen have been there for many, many years. It's fish. It's dead fish. They catch the fish, they clean them, and they sell them. You know, I don't know if anybody complaining anything about the fish, but I do believe, you know, the money spent taking this matters to the court, Mr. Johnson, respectfully, by yourself and for the government in having to defend the action and defend their position, could have been spent wisely otherwise. There could have been some compromise. Again, like I said, I feel that the biggest compromise could have been a lease term. And both parties could have agreed, this is what I want to do and this is what I allow you to do. And it would have been a sensible solution. Now, I've heard, honestly speaking, to be fair, that there are supposed to be some developments along that entire stretch of some type of sports marine facility for entertainment purposes along that entire stretch going down to, I believe, the wharf. I'm not sure if that is why this beach is trying to be acquired, but for me, I would like to see every one of the areas that I've noted to be preserved for our Caymanians, especially in Georgetown, where Caymanians can continue swimming in these areas. We all know that all swimming areas in Grand Cayman are becoming just a little path for Caymanians to go, where you have to park on the public roads, and it's not safe, right? Because the properties are being bought up by developers and owners, and they're developing their properties, and we no longer have beach access to swim on the beach. I've never seen anything like this. I have never seen anything like this. I've been to Jamaica, I've been to Honduras, I have been to St. Pete and Clearwater and other places in Florida, and I've never seen anything like this, where in our island we have little, I would say, 2 yards access way to walk down into the beach, and most of those access ways are blocked. And so we have to park on the public roads, on the side of the public roads, and jeopardize our safety, and then transport our beach wear and beach gear and equipment down these little paths, and half the time the beaches are rocky. You can't even sit in the little areas that they have designated as public beaches. And I'm sorry to say, I know our governments have been trying to preserve beach areas for us, but realistically speaking, we're only getting the grass piece areas and the rocky areas. I know there's a nice piece in Beach Bay, a nice little swimming hole in Beach Bay that will be gone by the time they put up those new apartment condos that are going down in Beach Bay there. I think they're called Emerald something. So, you know, there's been others that have had, and I'm saying this respectfully to Mr. Johnson, there's been many others who have migrated here to our islands who have had much more wealth. You know, I'm going to call the Oldies family, the Dart family. There were two others that I decided I wasn't going to call their names, that have donated land, more exclusive land, more exquisite land, more valuable land to the people of the Cayman Islands for certain purposes, for development purposes, to help the nation and the people. And I'm not saying that Mr. Johnson doesn't want to help the Cayman Islands or help the people or demonstrate how much he loves this country by allowing access to this beach. But I will say the lack of compromise on both sides, respectfully, to come to an agreement with this piece of property says a little something in my mind. And every district, every MP in each district is trying to preserve property and land for Caymanians to have swimming areas. Every other district seems to be doing great at it besides Bordentown and Central and Georgetown. I'm going to say the district of Georgetown, not electoral district of Central Georgetown. The properties, these particular properties I'm speaking about, falls within central Georgetown and Georgetown North. So that would be MP Bryan and MP Hugh. But that is irrelevant to me. What is important to me is preserving these areas in Georgetown, like every other MP is trying to do in their districts, so our Caymanian people, our Georgetowners and their children and their children's children can also have swim areas. Governments must be able to do that. Ports of Call is gone because now we see the I think it's called the Grand Hyatt is there. I'm not sure what's happening with Mr. Arthur's or the other property there that was across from Mr. Old Bush's Theater near, I think, Old Rackham's and those sorts of places. But we have to work to preserve these areas as a heritage, as historic areas for our people and visitors that like to come to our areas. Visitors can swim right there. They don't have to go out of the districts if they don't want to. The most beautiful waters are right there in Georgetown and along 7 Mile Beach heading north. So Mr. Johnson and the Cayman Islands government, I hope that you guys can come to some resolution, save those millions of dollars that you're spending in the court system trying to fight against one another. I think it said that Mr. Johnson brought the action. That's irrelevant to me too. What's important is that some middle ground can be arrived at, that we can preserve that area, not only for the fishermen, where tourists can come and see a part of Caymanian history, what is done that looks islandy, looks Cayman islandy, looks historical, looks, it has a look of an island activity and island feel. They don't only want to come here to see stingrays and hell and all those places. They want to see what locals do, what happens on islands. That's what they come on cruises and visitation for, to see island activities. And this is it. It also will demonstrate that we saw there were a small entourage some time ago that was actually standing out there and swimming and taking advantage of the location. That's what we want our tourists to do, but we also want our Caymanians to be able to enjoy that. So I want to finish with this. I went over a little bit over my time. And again, I want to say I hope that both parties can come to some agreement. These areas will be preserved as they are, as is done in other Caribbean countries and other small, islandy locations as us. I think Honduras, the Guanaja, Banaca, is kind of going through a similar thing down there. But for Cayman Islands, if this was West Bay, they would have had a smaller demonstration by now. I don't see why Georgetowners can't do it. A peaceful, small demonstration, but I don't think that that's necessary. I think these parties can come to some agreement. They can probably sign a lease and allow certain access. Mr. Johnson can probably still do what he wants to do there on the rocks. The swim area is still preserved. The fishermen are still able to be there, and we can all be happy. So I support everyone who wants to talk about this, who wants to throw in, go to the I don't even know if going to the courts is going to help anything at all. I don't know if anybody ever thought about doing a lease term between the parties, but this is my point of view, and I'm going to leave you guys with that. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Remember to like, follow, and comment, and share the pages that you find this video on. Thank you.